All right, guys, we are live. How's it going? It's Jewel Tolentino here, and I'm here with Neil of Merch Informer, and we're just going to be chatting and discussing here for the next hour or so about Q4 strategies, what I'm doing, what he's doing, and we'll take your questions as well. So, as usual, I've got AURET behind the scenes, and she's going to be in the comments. So whatever questions you ask her on there, she'll forward them over to me, and I'll ask Neil. So you guys have seen Neil before. I've interviewed him before, but for those of you who don't know you, Neil, why don't you do a quick intro?
Well, okay. Hello. Thank you for having me. My name is Neil Lassen. I started Merch Informer with my partner about a year ago now. Been in Merch by Amazon since nearly the beginning, about a month or two after it launched. And we've done pretty well. We do over 5 figures a month. It's been a fun journey. Just got back from a conference in Seattle about Merch by Amazon, so it was really good to meet a bunch of people in this space. But we're kind of just evolving the software as well as trying to get our uploads ready for Q4 since that is right around the corner.
Cool, cool. So you said that you've been doing Merch by Amazon from the very beginning. What tier are you at now?
I still have, my original count is still 8,000. I'm not really sure why I can't seem to get tiered up because I've sold way more than 8,000 shirts. But I also have kind of my hands in a few other accounts that are around that tier as well. So it's doing pretty well.
How long did it take you to get to that 8,000 tier?
I got there fairly quickly. I've been at the 8,000 tier for probably a year now.
Wow.
So I don't know why I can't seem to get tiered up, but yeah.
And how many uploads per day is the 8,000 tier?
It's 160. Well, here's the reason I'm probably not tiered up yet is because now it seems like you need to fill out, 80-85% of your slots to get upgraded or tiered up. And currently I am so far below that because I just have a million things going on. But hopefully that'll change in the next few months. I'm trying to ramp everything up.
Yeah, Q4, right? Everyone is preparing, thinking about it. I've been thinking about Q4. Like, I usually think about it when it ends, actually. Because I'm like, I get so excited for it because it's when everyone buys stuff everywhere. Like the three holidays, Halloween, Thanksgiving. We have Thanksgiving different in Canada here. It's in October.
Okay.
It's in October before Halloween, actually.
Oh,
so
that's okay.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, how much is it for you guys to buy shirts from Merch US and like ship it up? Have you tried
first
that?
of all, they don't ship to Canada directly as right now, but what we do is I live in Vancouver, and there's this place called Point Roberts, which is basically in Canada, but it's part of Washington, and it's like this little nubbin piece of land, and we can quickly just drive over there, and costs $4 per package. So when I order shirts, I order like a bunch, and then you just pay $4 to pick them up from Point Roberts. And it's free shipping because it's considered in the United States.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so if you live near the border, for anyone who's Canadian, you can quickly drive over and pick it up from the US. Most places across, like along the border, the US, they have this service for Canadians because a lot of places don't ship to Canada, or it's really expensive to ship to Canada.
Yeah, I have friends in UK and everything, and they usually, if they want to buy a shirt and they're like really dead set on actually buying a shirt, they have to get a freight forwarder, which is usually quite expensive.
Yeah, and then you probably have to order a lot more to make it worth it, right? It's probably not worth it to do one shirt.
I have no idea because I live in the US, but yeah.
Yeah, you guys are so lucky with shipping. It's like, it's so cheap and it's faster and convenient.
If Merch would get on, are you familiar with Prime Now?
Prime Now? No, just Prime.
It is the best thing that Amazon has ever done. So if Merch does this, I will buy so many more shirts. If you live, close to a fulfillment center, so I live just north of Denver, so I can order something from Prime Now, which is like their 2-hour service. In 2 hours, I can order something. They will deliver it to my door.
Oh my gosh, 2 hours.
If they have it in stock at that fulfillment center, it's the greatest thing ever.
That's pretty amazing. 2 hours. Like even the next day delivery, I would think is amazing. But yeah, the things like when you order things, even in Canada, when you do Prime, I find that it takes at least 2 days for anything to arrive if I'm ordering on Amazon.ca.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not that fast here.
Well, maybe someday. They're scaling up.
Cool. All right. So, as I mentioned, this interview is going to be themed around Q4 strategies, that type of thing. So, if you have any questions for Neil, put them in the comments section, and then AURET will pass it on. I have a couple of questions. So, do you have a strategy for specifically Q4? And if so, what's the strategy?
Well, I guess you could say I have one, and that's to actually start uploading as many as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of felt a little burnt out with uploading lately, so I've kind
Same.
of, removed myself a little bit, but I've noticed that once you start hitting your uploads consistently every single day, which is a lot easier when you're in the lower tiers, your sales just pick up. That's probably because, you get more products in front of more customers, but at the same time, for Q4, you have so much more traffic on Amazon. So the more people that are on Amazon, the more products you have up, the more eyeballs that are going to see your products, and the more sales you're going to get. So
Are
basically,
you
my only strategy is just to outsource more.
upload?
Yeah.
Outsource. Oh, okay. Outsourcing more. And are you doing the uploads yourself?
I do the uploads on my account. Everyone else that kind of help, I have them do the uploads because to me that is the most painful part. So I'm not a designer, so I need to actually hire a few more designers for my team since they're completely busy with the stuff I have going on now. So one, I need to outsource more. Two, I need to actually get into gear and do my uploads. But that's about it.
Cool. For us, we've hired another Upwork designer because it was, yeah, we took a break as well in the summertime and just traveled, went to a bunch of conferences for different businesses. And then we noticed that things took a little dip in merch for sales. And also, I think that if you're not putting energy and you're not focusing on it, it doesn't actually grow. So when we took a break from it, the sales kind of plummeted, but we're back now. We're not traveling for a bit. And I actually saw one of your videos the other day, the strategy of going onto Pinterest.
Yeah.
You want to explain that? Because I thought it was a really cool idea, and we're going to be trying that out.
So basically, what we've done with my girlfriend's account and what I'm trying to do with my account as well is that it can sometimes be beneficial to bring in, phrases and such that are not on Amazon and put them on Amazon, or to see, a niche that is really low competition. So what we've been doing is we'll head over to Pinterest and we'll type in, in the example in the article or video I did, it was Halloween shirts, I think. And then
Yep.
I'll go through all of them and I'll write down all the phrases that I see. Some of them you can't do, right? There's a Charlie Brown one with Snoopy on it. Like that used to fly a year ago. It doesn't fly anymore. So you can't do those, but I'd write down all the phrases and then I'd bring the phrases back. I'd look in Merch Informer and I'd see like how many are up. And usually it'll be like, maybe 10 shirts are up, but oftentimes you're going to see there are no shirts actually on Amazon for that phrase. And if there's no shirts, then you're getting in really, really early because, Halloween is, quite a ways away. You'd put the shirt up and hopefully you can get traction before people actually start buying that you're in first in the door.
Mm-hmm. What do you, so you've just started that, so you haven't really seen any results yet?
We've seen a few sales doing that. It's nothing spectacular, but I mean, we've only been doing that for like a week or two now, so nothing huge. But
Cool.
it is working, so that's the good news.
Well, I really liked that strategy. I watched it yesterday, and then I shared it with the team here, AURET and Maria, and it was so simple, but yet I think it's very strategic because when you were showing the example of a couple of those shirts, there was only like 10 or 11 or maybe even 15 other shirts up, and that is super low competition. So I really like those kinds of niches when there's like barely anyone there.
Well, you can
shirt.
also price higher too. So you're gonna get a
Right,
higher
yeah.
because if you're not trying to stand out in a sea of like 10,000 trending clip shirts.
Yeah, that's why we didn't even go into. By the time I didn't even know about the eclipse until like way later, and then there was already thousands of shirts, and I was like, oh man, I don't think I can get into this one. We did go see the actual eclipse in near Salem, Oregon. Did you
Nice.
manage to catch it? Like
Yeah,
the
I was up hiking up in the mountains when we saw it. It was pretty cool.
Oh man, yeah, it was so cool. We drove all the way from Vancouver, Canada to Salem, Oregon. It usually takes 4 to 5 hours, but because there was so much traffic, it took 12 hours. So
Jesus.
it was like we went to California, but yeah, it took 12 hours there and then 10 back. So it was like I was really tired from the drive. But
Did you see anyone wearing the Amazon shirts, the Eclipse
I
shirts?
did, I did.
They were everywhere.
Yeah.
It was insane. I've never seen a trend like that.
I personally would never wear an Eclipse shirt, but I saw a lot of people wearing the shirts and the glasses and everything.
I know. I've never. You know what? It blows my mind though that they're still selling to this day very well on
Really?
Amazon. Yes, and
Well,
I
maybe
don't get it. It's past. It was one day. It's done, but they're still just selling very well.
you know what it is. Probably they went to go see it, and it was like so amazing that they wanted a memento or something. Like they wanted to remember it by
It
getting a
could.
T-shirt, right?
I don't know.
Or
Whoever's
space
selling those
lovers.
shirts is doing really well.
Yeah, I did not catch on to that one till there was thousands and thousands of shirts. Like they were all the same. And I did you didn't do any of those, right?
I got in very, very late. I didn't do half as well as I should have,
But
but
you
I had
sold some.
yes, I had a friend though who got in maybe like a week or two, you know, before the eclipse actually happened.
Hmm.
And what he did is he came up with like a really good design, but he ran AMS ads to his, listings, and it took off. It just absolutely took off for him. He was able to get it kickstarted with the AMS ads, and then
Wow.
from there the organic traffic just kind of flooded in.
How much did he spend on the ads?
A few $100s. I mean, it wasn't that much. I know he made a very good return that month, so
I'm sure
worth
it
it.
was worth it.
Very
Yeah,
worth it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. We got a couple of questions here from Valor Luke. Would you recommend doing more premium shirts to avoid a drop in sales if the regular shirts go out of stock? Oh, good question.
Well, maybe. Personally, I don't do it because I like the higher royalty, but for some people that kind of screwed them over last year when merch, ran out of shirts, basically a print capacity issue. I think this year we're probably not going to see as much of that. I think they've had a whole year
To prepare.
to prepare. They made
I hope they don't.
they had a contract with what's it called? Cornette, the printer company.
Yeah.
So they have more printers, they have more warehouses. I think they're much better prepared this year. So hopefully, I'm gonna stick with Anvil. I might eat my words later, but we'll see in a few months.
I was actually thinking about that because I remember last year, like a couple of times they went out of stock. They ran out of black and then some other colors, and then like the sales kind of dropped. I was thinking about, oh, what if that happens again? But I would think that Amazon would learn from that and prepare themselves properly for this year. So,
Well, the
uh,
worst part for me was that remember we couldn't upload for a few months.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was
I
the worst.
remember.
So that's why I need to actually start my uploads and get them up before if anything like that happens.
I know. I was thinking about that I need to make sure that every day I do my as many as I can actually. I'm going past so we're at 1,000 here on the main account, 20 uploads per day. I'm trying to do like as many as I can per day just in case Amazon pulls some surprises where they run out or I don't know, whatever happens with Amazon. So that's a thing that I'm doing right now is like every day since September has started has been like uploading, uploading, uploading.
What are you guys doing for your pricing?
Pricing, we always keep it the same, 19.99.
Okay, because like I play around with pricing, and I know some people, because there was that freeze last year and people couldn't upload.
Mm-hmm.
People are remembering that. I have a few buddies that are like, well, I usually kind of price near the middle. It's kind of what I do, and they're thinking about bumping everything up before Q4 hits, just because there's going to be all that extra traffic and potentially more money. But I'm kind of on the fence on if I want to do that or not.
bumping it to like what, like 21, 24?
No, like $19.99.
Oh, $19.99.
A lot of my listings are kind of middle of the road. I kind of price towards the niche. So if there's 10,000 other shirts in the niche, I'm probably going to price pretty low to try to get the volume going, because my whole strategy essentially is to get reviews. And once I have
Right.
reviews, then I'll bump the price, because then I can continue selling. But as long as I don't have a review, I usually keep it kind of low.
So you start your pricing at like 14, 15, that type thing?
It totally depends. Usually it's probably around $16.99, but it kind of depends on, what I'm competing with. So the less competition, the higher I'm going to price right off the bat.
Interesting. Yeah, no, we've never gone any lower than the $19.99 and never gone any higher. We just kind of leave it at that price range. And we'll like because there's 3 of us, right? So we need to split the profits 3 ways. So we're cool with having it like at that $7 American, which is like $9 Canadian. So
you guys get a good deal in Canada. No,
I know.
Like, one of my Matt Carlett, if you're familiar with him, I know he prices like rock bottom low. He'll price like $11.99, and then after one sale, he'll bump it up to $19.99 to make sure it stays in the catalog, and then he doesn't have to deal with the 90-day rule.
Oh, so that's like ensures that, I guess, a greater chance of it selling and then getting it past that first sale.
Right. Because that's killing me. I know we talked about that before we went live. The 90-day rule. You have hundreds of shirts being dragged down, and you're kind of fighting the clock to get them back up online. So that kind of helps with that if you price really, really low.
It's like a salmon swimming upstream. It's like every time I do like a bunch, it takes way longer to do the, you do bunch and then they remove like 20, 30, 40. You said you had like 100 or something removed at one time.
Yeah.
It takes a while to get all that back up.
And listing is the most boring process. Like, it needs to be done and it needs to be done right, but it is just mind-numbing if you're trying to do more than like 10 to 20 designs a day.
This is what I do to make it not so like numbing, is I put on some crazy EDM music, and then I have like a piece of paper. I make it into a game, so I have a piece of paper and a tally, and I like try and get as many as I can, like a lot, like 1 to 2 hours, and then I go in the zone, is what I call it, so no one can talk to me. I'm not going to look at my phone. I go into this zone, and I just try and beat my number each time. But then you kind of get a headache a little bit, because you're just like, when you stare at the computer for so long, and then it just hurts after a while.
I know.
So you got to be careful of that. All right. Got another question here from Coffee Dawn. Do you take a design and expand it by creating the design itself in different colors to increase your uploads? Is this a bad idea, or would you recommend it? So I guess like taking ones that are maybe an example like black, having it in black text and then white, that type of thing?
Yeah, to try to get all the colors up there. That's something I really don't do. I'll usually just have my designer create one design, and then I'll just pick the colors that it looks best on. So typically 5 colors will look good, but sometimes, you might only have 3 or 4 colors that look good. And since I don't want the display image to be something that looks really bad, because that's going to be, you have one impression with your customer, 1 to 2 seconds, maybe 2 to 3 seconds to get their attention. So if the preview image is bad, you're going to lose their attention, and then, you're not going to get seen, and you'll probably fall in the ranks. So I'll just pick the colors that look best on the one design. Sometimes it's 3, most of the time it's 5, but I just pick the best ones and move on.
Same, yeah, like it's really important to choose the right color for the design, because it varies on the design and what colors you're using. It does not look good on a lot of colors, and I've had some people show me their designs and their shirts, and like it's like the complete opposite t-shirt and color that you should, like it almost clashes, that it would repel you away from the shirt than wanting to.
And those people get lost in the search results constantly, and they don't know why. It's because it just looks bad when you're scrolling through at a mile a minute. You only have that split second to grab their attention, and if it's something that just looks off, they're going to keep scrolling.
Another thing, Dawn, when you were asking that question, for us, depends on the design. If we really like the design, we'll create like another version in another color. Or if a shirt is selling really well, we'll create another version like in a different color. and we'll do that sometimes. But we don't do it for every design. It really depends specifically if we really like the design or if it has previously sold.
Well, I suppose if you're in the lower tiers and you actually find a design that's actually selling well, that you should probably actually get it created to look better on more colors, because that way your slots are, 80% filled and you can actually tier up, which is really important when you're in the 10, 25, 100 tier.
Yeah. All right. Another question here from Valor again. Do you believe that shirts are throttled, or is it just a conspiracy theory? What do you mean by throttled?
Well, yeah, there's probably some
Like,
truth to that. Essentially, what it is that Amazon has a print capacity issue at times. So, for example, when Eclipse came out and people were selling, thousands of them every single day, that's where all the print capacity was, because that's where all the money was. So,
oh, okay.
your
So,
little store with 3 listings probably wasn't getting shown up for, cute dog shirt or something. They probably just weren't showing that in the results.
like favoritism is what you're saying.
Well, essentially, I mean, Amazon is a business, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to run it like a business, and people get angry at them, but that's what it is. So yes, I do think there is some sort of throttling in that sense, but that's going to get better and better as Amazon is scaling up, as they're buying more printers, getting more print capacity. It's all kind of part of the game.
Do you think that, like, let's say you don't upload for a week on your account, you don't even log in. Do you think that, and then you upload a bunch of shirts, do you think that the person that's logging in and uploading every day has a better chance? Like, even though, let's say the previous person logged in once a week, did 20 shirts a week, versus the other person who's logging in every day doing 1 shirt a day uploading.
I don't think that matters at all. I think it has to do with the quality of your designs and how you optimize them. And
so you don't think that they pay attention to like activity on your account?
I mean, in some sense, yes, because they close your account if you don't use it. But at the same time, they're more interested in making money, right? I mean, they're a company. So
Yeah.
if you have one shirt that's selling 100 units a day or 100 units a week, they're probably going to favor you more than the guy who's uploading 20 shirts a day but is making no sales. So good designs. Make sure your designs are good. Make sure you're optimizing them, and make sure that you're doing your research to make sure that people are actually going to spend money with you.
Yeah, I had a comment the other day on one of my videos saying that it's been a month. They haven't had any sales. What could be going wrong? And I would say to them that is probably your designs and the keywords and the SEO that you're doing on your shirts, because clearly they're not being seen. And if they are being seen, maybe the designs are bad. So what would you say to that?
I would say it's exactly that, or they only have 10 shirts on the internet, 25. It's a numbers game. So you can't expect to retire off 10 shirts, retire off 25 shirts. You need to play the numbers game. If you're not making sales after a month, you need to be rotating in designs. And if you have no idea if a design is good, like, you should definitely ask someone who has an eye for this. Because, like, I'm not a designer, but I typically know if something looks, aesthetically pleasing or not. So that I would recommend. And the last thing is, if you're in the lower tiers, like, either buy yourself out of those tiers, or just simply market your shirts. No one wants to market. You can even buy your shirts and donate them to a charity for a tax write-off. It's not hard to get out of the lower tiers. You can go out there. There's Facebook, there's Reddit, there's Twitter, there's your local grocery store, your local pizza place. Like, just go talk to people.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, well, Christmas is coming up, when people donate to the people who
like
don't
those
have
giving
access to
trees.
stuff. Yeah, like that kind of thing.
10 shirts, bam, you're out of the 10 tier and you're on to something better, and someone gets a shirt. It's a win-win.
Yeah, another strategy that I explained in a previous Merch by Amazon update was Christmas is coming up. You got to give gifts to people usually. And I said, make some shirts that you can give as gifts to your family and friends, price them really low so that you don't have to pay as much, and then buy whatever you need to get out of your tier. And at the same time, you helped give your shirts like ranking, but then you are also giving Christmas gifts and letting people know that you have these shirts on Amazon. And I just said it was a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, and it only takes that like one sale on Amazon. It doesn't matter if you buy it or not. As long as you can kind of spike that shirt in the algorithm, you're going to get organic sales, and they can just kind of tumble on from there.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't know that you can buy your own shirts, because with FBA it was like a little more tricky with private labeling.
Yeah.
But
just don't review them. Don't review them. They're cool with you buying them. Just don't review them.
Yeah, but merch is totally cool with you buying your own shirts. My sister has bought so many because she actually likes them. I've been creating designs for her, and she's bought like, I don't know, 10 shirts. My parents bought some shirts. We bought our own shirts and have been wearing them to the gym and whatever. But yeah, so you can, there's a faster way if you're in that 10 to 25 tier, like do a 2-in-1, you know, especially with Christmas coming up, buy them as gifts. Get yourself out of that tier.
And I don't know why people don't do that. They sit there and they're like, I haven't sold any. I'm in the 10 tier. And Q4 is like right around the corner. This is where we make the most money ever.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get out of those tiers as quickly as it doesn't matter how. Just get out of it. Market your shirts. Give them away. Give them as presents. Just do something instead of just sitting there and waiting for organic.
Yeah, it's a small investment that could potentially lead to so much more. Like it's not gonna hurt you to buy your shirts. You know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah. All right, so let's see here. I think we kind of answered this question. I was going to ask you, you know, what would you say to the people at the 10 to 25 tier that are going into Q4? And we kind of answered that.
Yeah.
Buy yourself out. Another thing that I would say is to also upload onto other platforms that aren't Merch by Amazon. Redbubble doesn't have a limit. You can just go crazy on that one. And we've seen sales. I actually had a lady that watches my YouTube videos. Her name is Dawn. She's from Canada as well, in Alberta, Saskatchewan. And I mentioned Redbubble very early on, and now she's doing like 500 to 1,000 on Redbubble, and she's completely surpassed me. And I just mentioned it, and she's actually inspired me to get back into Redbubble, and she's just been going crazy on that. I think she's doing really well on Redbubble, selling all different kinds of products on there. You can sell anything like clocks and posters and cell phone cases on there.
That's awesome.
So don't just, I mean, if you've got that limitation, get yourself out, buy the shirts, and then go to another platform and upload on there. Have you tried any other platforms, or are you strictly merch because you're so busy?
Mostly merch. Something I'm working on now, though, is Etsy.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So when I went to Seattle, I actually stayed with a guy named Joel, and Joel is crushing it on Etsy. And so we started talking about, you know, he's basically just taking the designs he already has, moving them over. And Etsy's a really interesting market because, I mean, you know, they started off as only handmade. Mm-hmm. So they're super, I don't know what it is, but they just love to spend more money on things. So
I guess because they're handmade.
Yeah, well, no, it's not.
Concept?
It's not exactly. I mean, the whole audience there thinks that the items are higher quality. So you can take the same shirts. You can use a print-on-demand service. So what I'm setting up with is Printful, and you know they're willing to pay the extra money for the same design. But you can put on tank tops, you can put on shirts, hoodies, all of that. Mm-hmm. And they have a massive, you know, audience already. So it's similar to Merch by Amazon, something I'm getting into. I actually just finished writing the article. I'll probably go out tomorrow. But
ooh, I'll read that one.
Yeah. So Etsy's something I'm pretty excited about because I can just repurpose all the designs I already have sitting on Amazon anyways.
So, because I've heard about it and haven't started it yet, but thinking about it, because it's sounding like it's as good as merch. Does Printful is the one that prints and delivers the shirts, and they deal with the customer service?
No, you have to deal with that yourself.
Oh.
But other than that, I mean, they're gonna do all the printing for you. They have an integration with Etsy, so it's completely integrated. You actually just upload your shirts on there, and it kind of pushes it over. It's pretty easy so far.
What if someone has a return? How would you deal with that?
Well, we'll see when I get one. But I don't know exactly yet. But I'm assuming that if the design is like off or something like that, Printful would deal with it. But if it's like a wrong size or something, I would assume that you would have to deal with that.
So that's like the only thing is you would have to do customer service.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
But from the numbers I'm seeing, it should be very worth it. Let's just put it that way.
Well, yeah, I've been seeing people posting sales and stuff, and it looks pretty interesting. So I look forward to your blog article.
Yeah, we'll see. I think I'll probably go out tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, let me know because I like those ones. All right, another question here. Oh, I think it's a comment. Oh, they're saying you can also, Don is saying you can also do an Amazon giveaway. It counts as a sale and gets your shirt out to the public, and you can have them tweet about it or do something for an entry. I don't know if it works. Have you tried Amazon giveaways?
I have there's one major downside to Amazon giveaways, and that's that you have to purchase the shirt like for the giveaway, right?
Right.
So if you're running a giveaway, you don't know who's going to win. I mean, you can set it to how many people you want to win, maybe one win for every 10,000 entries or something like that, but you don't know what size they are. So you kind of just have to pick a size,
Oh.
say a men's large or, the most men's extra large, and then run the giveaway for that. And so I played around with that a little bit. I didn't find it too effective because, I mean, I had to buy the shirt and then I had no idea what size the winner was, but it is definitely something to play around with. Maybe if you're doing private label, that might be a little bit better. Because you do YouTube, you can actually force them to watch a YouTube video for these giveaways.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so it's something I want to look into more when I have a little bit more time. But for merch shirts, I'm not quite sure if there's a legit strategy there or not.
I've had some friends run them, but they haven't had great success. And they were saying that there's a lot of people who kind of just enter those, who are professionals at those competitions.
Yeah, they'll just enter everything.
Yeah, like they have multiple email accounts and they just do that all day or whatever. And they just want to win these free prizes and contests and stuff, and that they're not actually interested in, let's say, if you they'll tweet to an account that's like nothing, you know what I mean?
Right.
So a couple people have ran that, and I haven't heard anyone who's had great success with the giveaways yet.
Kind of in the same boat. But
yeah, if any of you are watching and you've had really good success, please comment down below. We'd love to hear about it. All right, let's see here. Another question from Banshee. If you're still waiting for merch, if you're still waiting for a merch invite, would setting up a regular Amazon seller account via Printful be a good move?
Well, I don't think that has anything to do with getting accepted to Merch by Amazon. When you do apply, if you haven't applied yet, or maybe if you want to apply again, I would actually show that you have some sort of audience. So get a website up, get some designs created before you're even accepted, get them on other platforms, and have something to show Amazon, like, hey, this is what I've created, this is my creations on other websites. Kind of show them what you have going on. Now, if you want to do through Seller Central, I wouldn't use Printful because they're actually kind of expensive. It works with Etsy because of their market, but I would use T-Launch through Shopify if you wanted to do that integration. But granted, you're not going to have prime shipping, so that's going to hurt you a little bit, and people are actually going to be able to piggyback your listings, which is also quite an annoyance. But it's worth it if you aren't accepted to merch for sure. But I would definitely get started one of those two ways.
And that won't be in conflict when, let's say, you get accepted into merch and you're putting up the same shirts and then you've got your own regular merch?
We'll see, what I've done is that the shirts take a lot of different UPC codes. So when I do the integration, I put them on mugs. I put my designs on
Oh,
mugs
okay.
and other things that don't have a million variations. So that way I kind of have a full spread of products.
How is mugs done for you?
Mugs do pretty well. I mean, pretty well is kind of a relative term. They sell, but I haven't put that much effort into it. I have a VA kind of uploading the designs on the mugs. So it's been worth it, but at the same time, I'm glad I haven't had to do it myself because it's a really tedious process.
Mm. It's I when we do Redbubble, it's quite tedious. It's like way longer, takes a lot longer to upload because you can choose to put it on just a t-shirt, but I like to put it on as many products as I can.
Right.
But then you have to like alter the picture per thing, like per product.
Okay.
So like you'll start off with like a t-shirt, but then when you get down to the cell phones, you gotta like make it a little smaller and move it.
It's been a long time since I've uploaded to Redbubble. I only have like a design or two up.
Yeah, like it's definitely time consuming and the profits are a lot lower. But yeah, I mean, we've been averaging like $3 to $4 US per item, and they even sell like stickers and stuff. I found that we do better in like stickers, but you only get like a really small percentage when you do stickers, like cents, like 10 to 16 cents on a small sticker.
You know, I was thinking about Redbubble the other day because my girlfriend ordered something for her car, and it was a sticker to put on the side, and it came in this like Redbubble package. I'm like, wait a minute, that's a print-on-demand service. I should probably actually get all my designs up there.
Yeah, I mean, I've Michael Essick.
Yep.
He's done very well on Redbubble. That's how I first heard about it. He like before merch was happening, I believe he was doing like that was his top one at the time, like a couple years ago before he started merch.
Right. Well, and now merch is blowing that away. I actually talked to him in Seattle, which is pretty
fun.
Yeah.
He recently, because when I interviewed him, he didn't have a webcam, so I didn't. It was just it was just the cartoon. So when I saw a picture of him speaking, I'm like, oh, crazy! Like he's a real person.
Yep. I only saw him like for the first time like a week before I met him in person. It was kind of weird, but
cool. He came all the way from the UK to Seattle.
Yeah. Well, then after Seattle, I think he went on vacation with his family in California. So.
Nice. All right, we got a bunch more questions coming in here. Did Amazon quit showing the amount of shirts in a category that usually shows in the top left corner? And if so, will that affect Merch Informer results?
No, that's not going to affect Merch Informer results. And yes, they did change that. So there's only about, give or take, around 1 million Merch by Amazon shirts. I think what they're talking about is if you go to the merch research, which is now integrated on our website, and you click go, it shows 70 million. People are like, why are there 70 million merch shirts?
Oh.
Like, no, it didn't grow from 1 million merch shirts to 70 million overnight. They changed the way they're displaying categories and, the amount of items in those categories. So.
Okay.
There's not 70 million merch shirts, and it's not going to affect the way Merch Informer works.
I'd be scared if I saw that. Let's see here. We kind of answered this. Best way to get it out of tier 10, the fastest and cheapest. Well, this isn't the cheapest way, but buying yourself out, that would be the fastest. And lowering it to, I guess, to whatever the minimum. I don't even know what the minimum price a shirt can be.
It's like $11.54, I think, on Anvil, something around there.
Yeah, and then give them as gifts. So that would be the fastest. What would you say is the cheapest way to get out of a tier 10?
If you don't have any prior marketing experience, that's probably going to be the cheapest. Although, if you actually, have no problems talking to someone in real life, just go to your local pizza place or, any business that sells shirts on their wall or something. Go in there and strike a deal with them. It's fairly easy.
Yeah, I think that would be a good one. What advice do you have for screening and hiring VAs?
Fire people quickly. So the way seriously, the way I've done it is that I give people one chance, and if they can't follow directions, I don't want to waste my time with someone who can't listen. Because if they can't listen once, they're going to do it again and again. And it's just going to it's going to tick you off. You're going to spend way too much time trying to train them. So I tell people what I want. If they don't follow directions, they're gone. And I just move on.
Do you, where do you find them? Upwork?
Yeah, Upwork so far is pretty much, I've used them for years. I don't know if there's a better service, but that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, same. So we've hired VAs for previous work for our business, like administrative type stuff. And then so we got some designers. And what we do is we actually we do this rigorous hiring process where they have to actually, I guess, compete against other people who are applying for the position that we are offering. And we pay attention to everything, like if they can speak English, because that is a big issue, is a lot of people don't know how to speak proper English. And if they don't know English and you're trying to get like a t-shirt with an English American joke on it, they're not going to get it, and that's going to be hard for them to translate in design. And we had some designers in the beginning that didn't understand what we were trying to get across, and it was confusion, and then we had to let them go, and it wastes time. So one is like, can they speak English? And two, like, can they communicate properly, and are they prompt in responding? Like basically someone who's like hardworking, who can communicate with you, and who knows not to do copyright material. We hired a couple of designers, and they said they agreed that they weren't going to do copyright, but just as a precaution, AURET and Maria just did like a quick Google search, like a simple search on that shirt, and we found it on there as like a copyright thing, and then we had to get rid of them because we're like, what the hell, you lied to us. So don't be afraid to get rid of people if they're not following, because you're jeopardizing your account if you do that.
So the way I get around not having to do like a super hard interview process is I ask them, you can ask them 2 questions. So I always ask them, like, I just make up a number. I'm like, what's the 28th president of the United States? So one that shows me that they can actually do research and look something up.
Okay.
So that means they can look up if something is available for free use or not. And then 2, I always ask them what they do as a hobby outside of work, and that usually gives me an idea if they can write and communicate proper English. So those
are your 2 questions.
Yeah, those are my 2 questions. So after I usually hire someone, I'll just hire the whole batch for 1 or 2 designs each, and I'll explain to each one of them, like, you can't infringe on this. You need to use stuff that's only for free use, yada yada. And then I'll usually, I might give them. I haven't hired a designer in a long time, but then I'll usually give them, I'll give them maybe 3 designs, 2 that are clearly just phrases that anyone can use, and then I'll give them one that's clearly infringement, like a Daffy Duck or something, after I describe to them that they can't do that, and I'll see what they do with it. So if they come back with the same thing, I'm like, thanks, but no thanks, and then I just move on. And
then what are the ones that obviously made it? Did they say like, hey, this is copyrighted, I can't do this?
Or they won't understand, or they'll see that it's copyright, and they won't use Daffy Duck in the same sense, but they might use some other kind of, free to use duck, and then it's all good, right?
Yeah.
And then I won't just give them 100 designs to do right away. Maybe I'll give them 5 in the next batch, and then I'll give them 10. Kind of just work them up to a level where they're constantly busy. Yeah,
that's another thing, is if you don't want to overwhelm them, because then what happened was we raised the amount very quickly, and then we found that they were rushing their designs. Yep. And then they became very sloppy, and then we're like, this doesn't look good compared to what you had initially done for us, and like the quality would be going downhill. So we've kind of found that we've got to work with, we don't want them to rush, basically, because we want quality, like good designs, because you're paying for them, so you want them to like look good. So
there's one guy in the beginning who gave me, I couldn't believe it. I gave my whole spiel about you can't copy this, can't copy that. He comes back to me with a design with like 2 or 3 watermarks on it, and was like, okay, now pay me. And I'm like, you're not getting a cent from me. What the hell is that? Like, you just stole things from the internet with watermarks on them. I'm like, that's bad.
Are you serious? Yeah.
There's a lot of bad designers out there.
Yeah, so they just think it's they like, you need to do your research and follow up on them to see if they're doing like copyrighted work, Because, yeah, there are a lot of people who are like that on there. They just want to get paid.
That's true. Well, so do we all. But I mean, you know, you got to make sure you're doing things right, or you're not going to last very long.
Yeah, well, I don't understand why they even do that, because it's a review-based system,
I
and
know.
if you get like a bad review, you're not going to get hired for the next. Because like when I'm hiring on Upwork, like when Arita's hiring, like you look at the reviews and see like what people said about you, and so if it's like you're going to be tricking people, you're not going to get much. You're not going to get much experience getting hired.
I know. Well, I mean, the other thing that you have to keep in mind too, though, is that there's kind of like, from my experience, there's kind of like a subset of designs that do well on merch. And those are usually like the big, bold, like in your face, kind of distressed text graphic-y ones.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I've come across a lot of designers who are really, really great, and they're fairly cheap, but it's just stuff that I don't think is going to sell well on merch. So I have to let them go as well.
So you're saying they went too crazy with the design?
No,
Or
it would just be more artistic, small, intricate sort of stuff.
yeah. Yeah.
And it just doesn't do well for me. I don't know what it is, but I don't want to take my slots and just fill them for the sake of filling them. I want to fill them to sell.
Mm-hmm. Well, we had this we ordered some of our shirts, and you see the quality, and you can't really go too crazy with the design, because it's not the quality that Amazon does currently isn't that great. And so if you go really like in the shading and like different
Yeah, it
gradients,
won't come out right at all.
yeah, it's not going to look good. Like the simple like works the best. So yeah, that's what we found as well. Got a couple more questions here. What's the typical cost per design for your Upwork designers?
For me, I pay people $4 a design. I think you're getting them cheaper than I am, actually.
Yeah, we got them for $3 a design, and a lot of people are like, "How did you do that?" And it's like we just stated that. We just put that in the post, and we're like, we're paying $3 per design. You can apply, and we stated again, and like they're bulk designs, so.
Right. Well, I mean, no one wants to do one design for $4, but if you're like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hire you for a year, if you keep
Yeah.
good work for me, you're gonna keep getting work. Then $4 turns into a lot more than $4.
Yeah, and another thing that people feel like bad when they pay $3-4 per design, but you have to also know that most of these people are in countries where the US dollar is much higher, and it's actually like this is how they make their living and how they take care of their families and stuff. So you're actually helping them when you do that, because otherwise they'd have to either have no job, or like I'm speaking from the Philippines.
Yeah, that's where my designers are from.
Yeah, like they are totally happy to be working on the computer, and because otherwise there's no jobs. Like a lot of my family that are in the Philippines currently, like there's no jobs. They don't do anything. So if they like it's a poor country. Like a lot of these countries are poor. I'm speaking from my experience with my own family in the Philippines, and like my mom has to pay for some of the like to go to school. She pays for her siblings kids to be able to go to school, because that's how, and it's like it's not expensive. It's like $20 to $30 Canadian a month for them to be able to go to school. Yeah, so it's like when you hire for example, a Filipino person to do designs, and they're getting $3 to $4 US, that's a lot in pesos, and you are actually really helping them. Like,
and I don't know what it is, but like, all the Filipinos I've hired speak excellent English.
Yeah,
it's so much easier to communicate with them.
They make it a point in the schools to teach their citizens English, because they want them to do well abroad. Like specifically, they're very Americanized there, and yeah, tourists can go there, speak English. Like most people know how to speak English there. It's a requirement for them.
Nice. Well, see, yeah, most of my designers are from the Philippines, but like I have a few on Skype where I will contact them if I need like a one-off or something fairly quickly, and then I'm gonna pay a little bit more, $8 to $20. But
Yeah,
that's rarity. Normally, I'm sending lists of 100 to 200 at a time.
Yeah, the current designer that we have right now, he's not from the Philippines. I think he's from, I forgot what other country, a smaller country in Europe. But he's doing so well that we're going to give him a Christmas bonus and like, you know, pay, like give him extra, because like when they do well, like you should reward them, and it makes them want to do well for you, you know, like not want to trick you, or like they want, because they want to keep this contract. So when you find someone like that, treat them well, because
well, I've always had a problem keeping VAs because I like to pay cheap prices, right? But because I have an affiliate business outside of merch, so it took me forever to find writers that were actually, you know, willing to write for me long term. And then once I found them, you do anything you can to keep them. Same with designers. So
yeah,
my designers, same thing. I give them bonuses. I make sure they're happy so that I'm happy.
yeah, cool. All right, got a couple more here. Do you ever publish the same design twice but use different title and keywords?
I've done that once, and it was for a case study that I wrote to show that keywords in your, you know, title, brand, and bullet points actually do matter. But other than that, no.
We do that when we do the, like, it's not exactly the same design, but it'll be like that design in white or black or a different color. Each one will have different title and keywords, like similar but moved around and slightly different. But we don't do it for, we don't upload the exact same design because we want to upload as many different designs, I would think.
Right. Same for me.
Yeah. Okay, so another question here. What's the one thing I should be focusing on to capitalize on Q4? What would you say?
Well, if you're in the lower tiers, the only thing you should be focusing on is getting out of those tiers. And if you're, you know, 500 or above, just filling your slots every single day with good designs. Don't just throw up trash for the sake of throwing up trash, because I think that worked a year ago, but there's a lot more people in the program now, and they're still putting up bad designs. So if you come to the table with something good, you're going to sell through.
Yeah, Michael Essick was saying over time you can't just put up crap, because there's so many people going into this program right now that if you want to be in it for the long term and rise above, that your designs are going to be what's going to bring you up.
I mean, when I first got started, you know, I opened Photoshop and I just dragged a few things in and I called that a design, and they actually sold. I'm fairly confident that would not work today because they were pretty bad. But
well, yeah, I mean, I guess it you know, you could have like one-offs here and there, but I think in the long term it's not going to work out for you. Or yeah, like paying attention to the design and the keywords, I think, is the most important thing. But yeah, if you're in the lower tiers, focus on getting to the next tier, next tier, next tier, next tier. That's what we did when we first started, and now that we're in 1,000 and 500, our main focus is uploading. So it really depends where you're at. Yeah, it depends.
Well, that's kind of where you can actually start making, you know, real money, like money that's going to pay for more than one bill. Like it might pay your car payment, it might pay your mortgage. Like 500 is kind of where you start making real money, and then anything above that, you can actually start making like a full-time income.
Yeah.
Generally.
Actually, at the 100 tier last Q4, last Christmas, we were surprised that we made over $1,000 in a month with only 50-something shirts. Like that really opened our eyes.
In Q4, normally you see like 5 to 6 times your normal monthly revenue. I wouldn't be surprised if it's more than that this year because they have more printers.
I know. I'm really hoping like we have like certain numbers that we've set for ourselves. All right, last couple of questions here. We got about 6 minutes left. Helen says, hi, any nice fonts to recommend for text shirts? Do you have any go-to fonts?
I couldn't tell you one font from another. I'm not a designer. I'm sorry. I don't know anything about fonts except for Arial. Arial, use that
one. For us, I can't remember the name, but like as you were saying, like the big bold fonts, like if you're doing a text shirt, like the ones that really stand out are the ones that do really well. So get a nice like thick, bold font. And there's lots in there. There's all different kinds. There's not only one font that's going to do better than the other. But yeah, try not to make the font like too thin if you're just doing like the text designs. And if you are doing text with the bold, like make sure it's like like not a quote, but like a word that like really looks good, like really big. You know what I mean? So that's what I would say for that. Another question here. What's your opinion on using different brand names as per all your designs under one brand?
I love using different brand names because they actually count for keywords. So currently, for some reason, if you put some sort of keyword in the brand name, it seems to help where you end up ranking organically in Amazon. So for every single shirt I have, I usually put up a different brand name.
Yeah, same. Because if you put it all under the same brand name, then someone who's potentially copying you just clicks on that and sees all
on the list, yep.
All your shirts, and then they know like which ones you've done, and they could like piggyback off of you and steal your design. So I would create different ones, and I actually learned that from you in one of your blog posts that they count as a searchable term.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. But, you know, if it works, cool. You should use it.
Yeah. All right, here. So if I buy my first 10 shirts, does that boost my BSR? So essentially, I could get organic sales at the same time?
Yes, that's exactly why you do that.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say, would you say to buy 10 of the same shirt or buy 10 different ones?
Depends. If you really want to boost one shirt, it depends on what you're going to do with those shirts. If you're going to donate them, I don't know.
Depends on the design?
It depends on the design. It depends if you want to wear the shirts. I mean, if you buy 10 shirts, the BSR is going to spike a lot harder than it is if you buy one of each shirt.
Mm-hmm.
So if it depends on kind of, you know, how competitive is the niche, or do you want to give your shirts, you know, each a change? I mean, if you buy 10 different designs, you're going to be immune from the 90-day rule as well. So that might be something people are interested in. So it just kind of depends on what your situation is.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, it depends on the designs and what kind of. I personally would spread it out, so I wouldn't just bank on the one shirt. I would create 10 designs that, you know, are evergreen or whatever, seasonal, and then buy one of each, and that way they each have a ranking and can creep on the Amazon the rankings. All right, last couple of questions here. Does Amazon penalize you for submitting different shirts with the same bullet points? I've got some good sellers, but better designs with the same bullet points don't sell at all.
I always make sure the bullet points are a little bit different because, I mean, if you have the same bullet points for multiple shirts, that's not really that great for the algorithm. I usually want to give them, I want them to see that each shirt is unique. So I'll change it up. I've never actually submitted, you know, 10 shirts with the same bullet points. So I don't know if you're penalized for that, but with my background in SEO, I would say that it's probably not recommended to do that.
Yeah, like switch it up a bit so that you can like put one word that isn't like one keyword that is different for each, so that you can potentially get sales from all those different kinds.
Right.
Yeah. All right. I think we're nearing the end here. Thank you so much, Neil, for coming on here, answering questions. Where can people find you, get a hold of you, and anything you want to talk about with Merchant Former? Any new updates?
If you want to get a hold of me, I run Merchant Former, so just click on the little support thing, send us a help ticket. We actually just released our keyless version, which took a little bit longer than expected, but there's no more setup or anything, so super easy to use. So if you haven't used it, there's a free 3-day trial. Go try it out. Other than that, thank you for having me. It's pretty fun.
Awesome.
Just reach me at Merchant Former.
Cool. Yeah, we'll also have a link to Merchant Former down in the comment section below if you guys want to check that out. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any more questions that we haven't answered, still put them down in the comment section below, and I'll let Neil know, and either myself or him will answer the questions. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.